play The Invisible Team, we saw a clear example of the main topic, discrimination. A student with a physical disability was left out of a school sports activity, not because he wasn't smart or brave or capable, but simply because of how he moved. That's called ableism, discrimination against people with disabilities.
Discrimination means unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people, especially on the grounds of race, age, gender, disability, or other characteristics. It's when someone is treated unfairly simply for being who they are. And when this happens to a child, it leaves deep marks on their self-esteem, on their confidence, and sometimes on their future.
There are many types of discrimination, and they don't always appear lovely or violently. Sometimes they show up in small actions, in what people don't say or not, do not like, not choosing someone to be on your team, not inviting them to a group, or ignoring their opinions because they are different.
This is just one type of discrimination. There are others. Racial discrimination, which is judging someone based on the color of their skin or ethnicity.
Religious discrimination, when someone is treated badly because of their faith or beliefs.
Gender discrimination, which treats boys and girls or those with different gender identities unfairly. Socioeconomic discrimination, where children are excluded because of how much money their families have or don't have. And of course, disability discrimination, which is what we saw in the play.
The truth is, many children face more than one of these at the same time. A child might be poor and have a disability. A child might be from a different country and speak another language. Every one of these differences should be respected, not rejected.
What makes discrimination so hurtful is that it teaches children that they are less than others. It tells them they don't belong in Israeli 10, and that is not the kind of world we want to create.
So, how do we change that? It starts with empathy, putting ourselves in someone else's shoes. It starts with inclusion, not just accepting difference, but valuing them. And it starts with courage, the courage to speak up when we see others being left out.
In the visible team, we saw a turning point. The group realized they were grown. They saw the strength, the intelligence, and the heart of someone they had ignored. That the moment is what we should carry with us.
Because every child deserves to be seen, every child deserves to be heard, and above all, every child deserves to be treated with dignity, kindness, and equality. Thank you.
Hey guys, can I join the line?
To her.
Can I join the line?
You? I don't think so. This line is only for those who have backpacks. Besides, you don't even have lunchbox.
Hey! It's not okay to do that to him. He just only want to participate. Get him, guys.
Oh, Ryan, don't be so exaggerated. He doesn't even look like us, nor does he speak the same. He probably doesn't even understand the activity.
Oh, I just want to be part of the group.
That discrimination, they are excluding him because how he looks and how he has, that's unfair.
This is not discrimination, we are just organizing.
That's segregation also, because they are keeping away from his prejudice.
In the play, The List, we saw a moment that happens more often than we think, a group of students forming teams and someone being left out, not because of their abilities, but because of where they come from, how they speak, or how they look. This is discrimination.
The type of exclusion hurt deeply, especially when it happens to children and teenagers who are still finding their voice. When we create lists of whose out based on shadow standards. We don't just hurt others, we limit ourselves. We miss out on ideas, talents, and friendship that could have changed everything.
The play reminds us that diversity is not a weakness, it's a strength. Everyone has something valuable to offer. Our challenge is to look beyond the surface, to welcome, include, and stand up when others are being excluded.
Because sometimes being kind is not about doing something big. It's about saying, "Come sit with us. You belong here too." Thank you. Discrimination in its many forms, whether based on race, gender, religion, sexuality, ability, social class, or nationality, has remained one of the deepest moral failings of human societies throughout history. It is not merely a social issue. It is a profound ethical crisis that cuts at the very core of what it means to be human. In its root, discrimination is the denial of equality, of opportunity, and of dignity. It is the active or passive reinforcement of systems that elevate some while demeaning others based on traits that should never determine worth. When we allow ourselves to engage in or tolerate discriminatory behavior, we rob others, and ourselves, our humanity. We create walls of division where bridges of understanding should be built. We encourage fear, mistrust, and hostility in places where empathy, respect, and cooperation could thrive. More tragically, we perpetrate harm, often invisible, throughout exclusion, silencing, and systematic injustice that robs individuals of their dreams, their peace, and sometimes their lives. History shows us that devastating consequences of unchecked discrimination, from slavery and colonization to genocide, apartheid, and hate-filled violence. These are not abstract tragedies. They are testimonies to the real suffering of people whose only fault was to be born into a group that others deemed inferior. And even today, discrimination continues to poison educational systems, workplaces, legal institutions, healthcare, and everyday interpersonal relationships.
Yet there is hope. Recognizing the destructive power of discrimination also reveals the transformative power of justice, compassion, and equality. When we choose to see each other as equals, when we acknowledge the humanity in every person, we begin to repair what centuries of prejudice have broken. We create spaces where diversity is not feared, but celebrated, where inclusion is not an exception, but a norm. To reject discrimination is not merely to be nice or tolerant, it is to be actively participate in building a better, more just world. It requires us to challenge not only others but also ourselves, to unlearn bias, to question our assumptions, and to stand up even when it's difficult for what it is right. It means listening more than speaking, learning more than judging, and acting more than posting. We must educate ourselves and others, speak out when we see injustice, and create environments where every person feels seen, heard, valued, and safe. We must remember that silence in the face of discrimination is complicity and indifference, is a form of approval. Ultimately, to reject discrimination is to affirm a fundamental truth that all human beings, regardless of our differences, are equal in worth and dignity. It is only when we live by this principle, not in word but in deed, that we claim to be truly humane.